Thank you for tuning in to The Realty with T3. My name is Tisha Harris, and I'm going to be your host today. I'm also the team leader of Texas Trio Team, and so we've got an awesome guest. And who have I got with me today?
Kendra Gentges.
And then so our guest, tell us who you are and what keeps you busy these days.
My name is Catherine Kenjura. I always say I'm first. I'm a mom. So I've got 3 kids that are here in school, but I've been an attorney here for 21 years plus now, practicing primarily estate planning, probate, and real estate. And then I also am a 50% owner of Brenham Abstract. So.
That's incredible. So have you always been in Brenham your entire life?
I have. I was born and raised here. I left to go get my education, but I came back right away. I knew that Johnny Lucina, a lot of people, he's an old attorney that passed away 2 years ago, but he needed an attorney in town. And so I went to work immediately with Johnny and kind of hit the ground running with same things I'm still doing today: estate planning, probate, real estate. So a lot of small business type work too, contracts.
Wow. You're not busy at all, are you?
No. The kids and work, it keeps me busy.
Yeah. So, I'm just so curious because you have such deep roots in Washington County. How has the community here shaped your career and who you are today?
I think because I know so many of my clients, and I mean, there are a ton that I don't know as well. And I'm like, I've never met you. Like, kind of when you and I were talking before this, like, tell me your story and how you got here. Because I love Brenham. I mean, obviously, like, it called me back home. But knowing everybody and being a small town, I think it's really important that customer service is like the number one thing you do, because it's a small town. If you're not doing a good job, people are going to find out about it right away. But the town has shaped who I am. I mean, my parents are from here. My grandparents are from here. I think the small town community is a great place to raise children. I think it teaches good values, and I think the town watches out for you, and if you allow it to, it helps you. So,
right.
Mm-hmm. That's one big benefit of that small community, is just having that backing behind you.
Yes, it is.
It sounds like you have that.
I do. I have that. My family is very supportive. If I need to run and go do something with the kids, my mom and dad will jump in. My in-laws will jump in. Obviously, my husband jumps in. But that, and then, I've got great staff at my law office. I've got Cindy Reimer there, and she started with Johnny and Mr. Hody back in 1978.
Wow.
Right out of high school. And so she's been doing all of that. So she's just got a wealth of knowledge too. So she's a great asset.
100%. So I have to ask, what was it? Was it when you were a little girl, or as you were going older, that you were like, I want to be a lawyer?
No. I wanted to be a doctor.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and at some point in college, something shifted, and I was like, medical school seems really far away, or that goal seems further away than I'd like. I want to start a family sooner than what medical school would allow. But I was like, I'm not done. I'm not done with college. Like, I knew that college wasn't my last stop. So what could I do? And so, what do I want to do? I was like, maybe I'll go to law school. So I went and met with the pre-law advisor. I was like, what does this look like for me? And she was like, stay on your same track. Law school has no prerequisite like medical school does. So if you change your mind again and want to go to medical school, you've got all your prereqs for medical school. So I stayed. My undergraduate degree is in biomedical science, so it's totally different. So I got that degree, was able, applied to law school, and ended up choosing to go to SMU in Dallas to law school. But yeah, and I enjoyed it. I mean, I made great friends in Dallas. Dallas was a little big and a little far away from Brenham for me, and I was dating my husband at the time. So yeah. So we were like, no, and we weren't Houston people.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, how many years of schooling was it for you?
I got my undergraduate degree in 3 years, so and then law school is 3 years, so just 6 years total from when I graduated high school to when I had a law degree. Yeah.
So
it was a lot quicker than medical school. I mean, when you had a medical school and a residency and a fellowship, and I think I was out and practicing law at 24 instead of, you're maybe, I don't know at this point how old you are when you can finally have your own, or pick up and be a doctor. So.
Okay. So What was it like the first day you walked into a courtroom representing a client?
Oh, it's nerve-wracking. It is. I mean, there's 21 years in, and it's still nerve-wracking at times. You're like, there's people behind you. Courtrooms are open to the public. It's public hearings. It used to be people's entertainment. So, you have people sitting there, and I was like, oh, I hope I don't mess this up. I mean, now with a probate, it's pretty routine. That hearing, and it's pretty rote, and I can do that a lot quicker without nerves. But yeah, it was nerve-wracking back then. And the first 6 years of my practice, I did family law.
Oh gosh,
that was not for me.
And then you're in a small town,
yes.
So it's just like you're the linchpin between close-knit community and things.
Yes, yeah. So it wasn't for me. I like the estate planning. I love doing wills and drafting those documents because it's a service. It's something people need. And same with the real estate. It's, people, they're the buying and the selling of your home, and it's a need. So I enjoy that. I feel like in some ways it's similar to being a doctor because you're providing a service that people have to have for, for their life. So,
right.
Yeah.
And so you were in that. And so what was a lot of people that whenever they're in buying or selling real estate, they don't really understand the seriousness and the imperative nature of having a title company like Brenham Abstract.
Right.
So can you maybe explain to someone that's watching like how important it is?
So the title company, we make sure that that what you are buying is actually that you have proper title to it, that somebody didn't 3 days beforehand turn around and sell it to somebody else, that there's no liens on the property, that like child support liens, or that there's not, you still owe a second mortgage to a random company somewhere, or that, and my favorite part of it is really the tough stuff with like the heirship and all of that, some of these properties in Washington County will have about 40 different owners to them. And so you have to make sure we've picked up every single one of them and that none of them have liens on it or they haven't conveyed their interest to someone. So when you purchase a piece of property, you want to make sure that you are really going to own it. And so then the title insurance provides, it covers that risk. It's a one-time fee. It's not like health insurance or car insurance that you're having to renew that premium for. So it's a one-time fee to say, yes, you own this.
Yeah. And so, like you said, Lynn, I know we know in our experience, like all transactions out in this area, is there are multitudes of owners in history, and it can go back a really long time. So what's maybe some of your favorites that you've had the opportunity to work on?
It'll just say the bigger the family, I'm like, oh, this is so good. And like, one that draws to mind, it's a great family, and I still do work for them today, but they knew that one sibling or cousin had gone to California and they thought he was dead and couldn't find him. So we're going to have to, make some extra provisions for that. We're still going to sell the property. We're going to get the judge to give us an order saying we can sell that property, but then any money, like whatever his proceeds would be, we're going to go to the registry of the court. So we're working on all that, and somehow we were at one court hearing along the way, and I was like, let's just check the census records really quickly while we're here at the courthouse. Like, give me any from the other family member. Give me any information you have. And so we go and we find it, and I'm like, oh, wait, look, there's a social security number here. I was like, it had the whole thing in it at the time. So it's like, let me run this. We ran it. We found the guy in California. He's still alive, and we connected him all back with his family, and they all get together now and do things. And then obviously he joined in the conveyance and got his sales proceeds as well. So yeah, that one's kind of fun. That doesn't happen that often, though.
That's wild.
That's a good story.
Yeah. So we found him because he had left and had no way to, nobody had cell phones at the time he left. So no one, so.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That is neat.
Anyway.
What?
I was just asking if she could pull her microphone.
Oh, please do.
This way?
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
Yes, that's better.
All right.
That's a lot better. So since you said that like there's so many properties in Washington County that are family owned and things like that, what are some steps that they can be like proactive at protecting their properties and like getting ready to maybe like pass on to their next family members, and or if they're wanting to sell?
Okay. So that's where the estate planning comes in. Obviously everyone needs a will. we could discuss trust, but I think everyone needs a will. We'll start with that. Just, clean and simple. Do a will. The other document that helps a lot, or we can do some deeds ahead of time. We can do what's called a ladybird deed or transfer on death deed. Those are actually two different documents, but that will help. That will make the property transfer, invest in the new owners, typically someone's children, family members, right upon someone's death. So someone dies, and immediately becomes the other person's property at that moment. We do those a lot with Medicaid planning, but you can also do it just to simplify it, and that property is done. It's not part of the estate. We don't have to deal with probate. And if you don't need a letter of testamentary, you can do what's called affidavits of heirship. And I'm sure that y'all see that when you get
All
a
the
title
time.
commitment, and like, oh, you have to get an affidavit of heirship. And that's that we need to know who someone's heirs are when someone dies, because they've died, they haven't done anything with the property. And if it's appropriate in this situation, and that will vary, because then we do that document, and it says, okay, Catherine died, she didn't have a will, she had a husband and 3 children, and now that property, depending on if it was my separate property or community property, either goes to my husband, or it goes to my husband with a life estate and then my 3 children. If there are issues in a determination of, an affidavit of heirship can't be done, then we have to go to court and do determination of heirship and do those kind of proceedings.
And those things can take a lot of time.
They do. That's why I'm like, you need to have a will. If you have a will, it makes everything a lot simpler. We can get through a probate pretty quickly.
With a will, yeah.
Yes. We had, I think a week or so ago, we had a probate that we did, and we closed on it.
That happens all the time. Is someone will be like, such and such and my family passed away, I want to sell the property. And I'm like, okay, was there a will? Yes. And it's like, okay, well, you still have to go through probate. What are you talking about? Like, it happens a lot.
It does happen a lot. So you bring that up. The will that you have sitting at home or wherever, if you have one already, is not your last will and testament until a court of law says it is. So the example I give my client says, you might go, write a will tomorrow and leaving everything to your family. But then in 2 years, you might go do a different will and leave it all to a charity. Let's just use that as an example. Well, they might think, you've lost your mind. You're crazy. She didn't know what she was doing. And all of a sudden your family brings this will forward, and the charity brings this will forward. And the judge has to say, well, was she of sound mind when she did this? Did she have testamentary capacity? And so which will is the correct will? Is her family getting all of her property, or is the charity getting all of her property? That's why we have the probate process.
Wow. So, I'm sure it just depends on the circumstance, but if it did happen and the person was of sound mind, but there's a lot of upset families walking out if it went to the charity.
Yes. Yeah. So maybe, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, yes. There's a lot of contested probate stuff that happens.
So just because they made a will in 2020 and then 2024 they made a new will, that new one won't take precedence because it's newer.
It should.
Always.
The 2024 will. That 24 will revoke your 2020 will.
If you're of sound mind. And
If you're of sound mind and know what you're doing.
And who determines whether or not that person was sound?
The judge.
Okay.
Well, and you're going to have witnesses. You will have doctors call, like you're getting into some contested probate to that point. So they'll be calling doctors and family members, and it's typically not a family and a charity doing it. It's typically 3 children are in this will, and all of a sudden 1 child's in this will.
Correct. Yeah.
That's really what the facts will tend to be.
Okay.
Somebody all of a sudden left 3 kids out, and 1 kid's getting everything.
Right. And so as far as legalities in Texas and like what things look like, it seems like everybody's going to be in a different circumstance and all of that, but it seems like you're kind of like, not so much on the trust thing. Like it seems like a lot of people are like, oh, I have it in a trust, so I'm going to do that. But then when it comes to selling it, it's a nightmare because they really have no idea what's going on.
It is. People think that, oh, I'm going to do this trust, I'm going to save my family all of this time. They're not going to have to probate a will. And sometimes that's true, and sometimes it's not true, because if you fail to put just one item in the trust, you have what's called a pour-over will, and you're probating that pour-over will. There's a lot more work, in my opinion, that goes in on the front end to doing a trust. And there are absolutely, estate planning reasons to do a trust. But the majority of people, when they come in, the better option for estate planning is the will with probate later. Sorry, I got distracted on that. But so with the trust, and depending on how you create it, if it's revocable or irrevocable, you can wind up in a situation you don't want to be in later on down the road. I just looked at a trust for someone, no, obviously I'm not going to say name, but wife's dead, so the trust is irrevocable. He wants to change some things because somebody's not doing enough for them and wants to change it. It can't be changed.
Really?
No. I mean, in that situation, I feel like if you want to make edits, but now you may want to lock a spouse into something too. So
Yeah.
you have to really sit there and meet. And if that would happen, that, the husband and wife disagree, I have to send them, I can't represent both of you in doing this. But
Right.
yeah.
So if you had someone come in and they say, I don't know what's best for me, a will or a trust, are there like, I know every situation is different, but is there like, I don't know the word I'm looking for, like pinpoint items?
Yes. So I really would, when people come in to see me, we sit down, what do you have right now? What are your assets? Now, the assets you have right now may not be the assets you have the day you die. That's, and like you could win the lottery, that sort of thing. For the most part, they are the same, or they'll be similar, they'll increase in value, that sort of thing. So we go through, what are your assets and how would we best handle those? Like on your bank accounts, if you want your 2 children to have the accounts, let's go talk to your bank and make sure those things. So coming in to see me for wills, and that is also sending you out to do some little, what I call homework projects, and you go talk to your bankers and go talk to your investment planners and could go make sure everything is where that it kind of matches what we've talked about in my office.
How long is that process typically?
Well, I talk fast, and so and I will they come and see me. It takes 30 minutes to an hour. Most people know their assets, and they know they have had a general idea. Every once in a while, you'll have a husband and wife walk in, and they'll kind of start looking at each other and like, you'll go home, talk to each other. I can do whatever you want me to do, but typically they need to be in some sort of agreement. But yeah, 30 minutes to an hour, they meet with me, and then I give them things to do. I draft, send them drafts by email, and then come back, sign things.
So typically, like a process of, it depends, but should someone allocate maybe a couple months, like to get their ducks in order, unless it's like a really extensive estate or something?
Depending on how backed up I am, 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
Cool.
but yeah.
Good to know.
So you've seen Brenham over the years change tremendously, and there's like major moves in like the real estate industry that we're dealing with, but what impacts have you seen like on title work and what that looks like?
Well, and the title work is, I'm getting more and more into it. For the longest time, I just had 5%, and it was, there were many owners of Brenham Abstract, and then at the end of May, Dan Blaylock and I brought all the other owners out, and so we're 50-50 now. But the marketing side of it is different. So that's, so historically, when an agent had a deal, we have a buyer, we have, offers made, you would go to an attorney. Only attorneys back in the day could draft an earnest money contract. So you'd go, and a lot of the attorneys in town would be open on Saturdays. This is long before my time, and they would draft it. And after a while, then laws changed, and then the agents do the contracts now. But sorry, I lost my train of thought. What was the question?
Well, just the growth and things like in Brenham.
The growth in Brenham, and then but so that kind of stuff has changed. The title industry is highly regulated by TDI, so there's like rate changes, rule change, all that sort of thing. So you see those little minuscule changes that maybe aren't like big changes, just kind of like, oh wow, look how far we've come, that kind of thing. But the growth in Brenham is, I've been doing this 21. I'm like, oh, we're just on the cusp of like getting bigger. But we kind of, I do like that we've kind of stayed the same. My children's class sizes are still the same high school class sizes what they were when I was in high school. Now the retirement community here has definitely, just expanded and grown. You see all the different subdivisions going in. There weren't these big subdivisions being added to Brenham back when I was growing up here. And then of course the price of land is just, if especially like when you ask my parents and in-laws, like the price of land, just acreage and then downtown. You know, if everyone would have had a crystal ball, you would have bought up everything.
Yeah,
So,
right.
I mean, this area is, you know, it's very desirable to people from bigger cities. So and that's kind of always been the case, but you see it now on, like, not just the Houston side. You see it on the Austin side and in the north and all that now.
Absolutely. It's just like if they can't afford the land there, they're just going to go find in a subdivision that's going to kind of get them going to
Yes.
maybe one day they'll buy that 2.5 acre ranch
Yeah.
that someone split along the way.
Right. Yes. So, yeah, I mean, we're in a desirable area, so that is
Absolutely.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you're so involved in the community, and it was so funny. Like, I knew you were coming, but two didn't ring together. And I was like, I know her. Like, we had met at a parade. And so
Yes.
it's like the little hallmark things that
Yes.
make this town really fun.
Yeah, and that's, you know, I mean, I've been fortunate to grow up here, so I want to give back to this community. It is, you know, it's raised me up, and so, yeah, I mean, I love doing stuff. I feel like I'm trying to slow down. I was involved with Brenham Fest forever, and then all my kids' school things, like the PTOs and all of that kind of thing. And then I did the Brenham Economic Development Foundation. And that was neat, just with the, you know, you see more of the projects coming to town when you're on that foundation. So
Right. And
Yeah.
so you saw it happening, like the years to come, like what was going to happen. And so you kind of had like a prerequisite of what was going to be going
Yeah.
on in the community.
Yeah.
Being involved. That's cool.
Yeah. And if you're involved, you hear things, you know, it's like, okay, like put a pin in that. Like, this is going to happen. So.
So, besides Washington County, are there any other like counties you serve, or like can anybody from anywhere come to you? Or
Oh yeah, anybody from anywhere. You know, I think I've got a Lee County probate coming up. I do Austin County, Waller County, Grimes, and just any of the contiguous counties. Mainly, I mean, I actually do quite a bit of Harris County probate, just because someone lives here and they want help there. They don't know where to go to find a Houston attorney, that sort of thing. But yeah, anybody can come here, and even if, you know, if you're selling property in another county, we do a lot of that, because a lot of our clients they'll have what was the one the other day? They had Washington County, Austin County, and Colorado County. So we're, you know, pulling those, you know, deed records from, that's in my law office, pulling those deed records for them and compiling that affidavit or that deed for them. So yeah, I mean, and you know, all the local title companies can close something for an Austin County, Grimes County, any of that as well too. So we'll do any of that.
yeah.
So as far as like, you know, when we all got into real estate, the number one thing is like, we are not attorneys. And so do you get a lot of calls from realtors, or are you fixing like you shouldn't have told them that, you know?
No, I feel like most of them are knowledgeable, but I'd love to help out real estate agents if they have questions, and they'll call and you're like, what would you do here? Or this contract, this, you know, this happened with this one. What do we need to do? That sort of thing. And then especially all of the, you know, Schedule B and Schedule C things on a title commitment. Just, you know, somebody needs affidavits of non-production, like that sort of thing, or whatever it is. I mean, that's always the one that seems to pull the most from Schedule B. But yeah, I mean, yeah, they call and I'll answer questions to the best of my ability. I mean, and most of the time it's like, I have to see documents. You know, I can answer the question one way based on what someone tells me, and then I see a document and it's
Completely different.
completely different.
Yeah.
So
So as far as you stepping into this role, like in Title Now, you're involved in the community and you're also, you know, have your law firm. Did it take a long time to build the like atmosphere around you and your team, like to really just go into sync? So like you said, you can get to a point where you're ready to step back a little bit and just enjoy your family and life.
yes. Yeah, I feel like I have, you know, it's just one of those things with growth and like just getting older and like knowing what you like and what you don't like and different processes. And even Johnny and I mean, we were partners, we worked together, but after a while I was like, okay, I think I'm pretty big on efficiency. Like inefficiency drives me a little nuts. So, like, okay, this seems quicker. I mean, let's tweak this, let's do that. I mean, clearly software in this day and age it can help the industry quite a bit by having good software, both in the law firm and at the the title company.
100%.
Yeah. And so you go to different, you go to your continuing education, and they have different people out there, and, different new and better processes all the time.
Right.
So it's, in my opinion, it's good to stay up with all of that. You can't skip that.
And like you said, you're stepping into the role of title. Like, it's also including marketing and branding and things like that. Things that you probably didn't have to do before because everybody, needs a lawyer in some sense.
Right.
But title's a completely different ball game.
And in some ways, you can't be an ambulance chaser as an attorney, but then you have to market your title company. And so you have to watch that. Yeah, the marketing aspect, I think you would say that for any industry across the board in the last probably less than 10 years has totally been a game changer. I would say, I would think that real estate agents would tell you all that too, the ones that you talk with. So,
yeah, so you've got your marketing and your branding, and then a couple years ago, let's throw in a little thing called AI.
Yes.
And so, do you have any feedback on AI and what changes that's making in the industry for yourself?
I mean, it's definitely more efficient with AI. I'm getting sent legal, software like, hey, here's AI, and like my deeds, like that AI will do this for you and do that for you. Now, there's an expense to me to do all of that. So it's not like, I can just have AI now be me. So it's, I still have to go back and double check it. I think that's what's important with AI. I think it's a tool. I don't think it's the end all be all. I think you need the human element, and
100%.
Especially for the community service part of it. I mean, if you're just going to be a robot, nobody's going to come see me.
Correct.
And that's, and I feel like I get all my legal business is word of mouth. So, yeah.
So, as far as what has been the biggest thing you've learned about yourself over the years, and all of the stuff that you do for yourself in the community?
I mean, I think when I was younger, I'd say I have a decent capacity to take on a bunch of stuff. And now, as my children have gotten older, I think I've learned, even though you can take on a bunch of stuff, you shouldn't, and it's okay to say no. So, and I've learned that in my practice as well. Family law, it wasn't for me. It was no. And I'll have people just, will you do it? No, I'm so sorry. It's, it's like my reference is, you're not going to go see, I'm sorry, your gynecologist to get your pimples popped, right? And so same thing. Like, I'm not going, I'm better at certain things than there are other attorneys in this town that are excellent at family law, that sort of thing. So.
And so is that just something that you said that you're very, I think we're all kind of like on this team, very like, we're very precise when it comes to like details and organization and things like that. And it sounds like you are as well. Is that something that you had to let loose of, like, as you like started kind of releasing yourself of those responsibilities?
Yeah. I mean, just kind of just enjoy stuff a little bit more.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fine. Like, my phone is still glued to me because I want to be on the customer service aspect, like able to respond to, either Cindy at my office or somebody over at the title company. So, and my friends probably like, put your phone down. But I'm like, well, these things are happening, and I'm able to come eat lunch because I have, I can go out to eat because I have, an income because I'm working, you know, so I can't. So, like, same thing. I go pick up my daughter early from school. Not early, but I go get in the car line so we can get where we need to be. And I sit in my car that hour and work. So,
yeah.
When
you get there early, so you're like through like not waiting in the line, and then like whenever you get out of the line, you're like, all right, next to the next thing.
Yes.
Next thing.
Yeah.
Your other job, your seventh job for the day.
Yes, that's right.
So when do you ever just turn it off?
Oh, I like to watch TV. Yeah, at night. Yeah,
and that kind of just like you like reconnect with yourself
or
time?
With my kids. Yeah, yeah. I like to watch TV. I mean, yeah, that's probably on the weekends. I just start doing stuff around the house. I mean, so I like to go on walks and stuff like that. So try to exercise, but usually I feel like that's what ends up being the thing I sacrifice.
Yeah, we've had the conversation with a multitude of business owners, and it's like you have this envisioned of like, I'm going to 50-50 it, my family and my business, and just everyone we've talked to is just, that's unrealistic.
It is unrealistic. I think you have to allow your schedule to be open all day long to all of it. And that was luckily with when I worked with Johnny, it was like if my kids had something, I put it on the calendar. That's where I'm going to be at 10. I'm going to be at my kid's school play that day, or it's night at the museum. My calendar it now. When I go to night at the museum soon, I will have my phone and I will have to I'll review documents. I might draft documents that night on my laptop, something like that. So I think you have to let your schedule be open to work life all the time.
Right.
And in some ways, you get a decent work life balance.
Yeah, and that it's so funny to me that I think we hear all the time is like, I don't have time, I don't have time, I don't have time. And it's just like, I realize that in myself, like my kids will have this event like you're talking about, those things will be going on. And it's like, are you really engaged the whole time? Or do you have that 20 minutes to write back that email really quick?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, acknowledging that.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
And you got AI, you can use it.
Right.
So what things are you looking forward to as we step into, like, Mayfest is going to be coming up? Are you still involved in that?
I'm now the chairman of the board. So last year I was president. My daughter was the junior queen. So I'm a lot, that I don't have nearly the amount of responsibilities this spring. So yeah, I love Mayfest. I've loved it since I was 2.
Can you give us a little bit of history for people that might be coming to Brenham?
Okay. It was Mayfest. It's 135 years old. It was started in 1881. It actually began before that as the Volksfest. It celebrates the German heritage and culture in our area, but it's also really a celebration of youth in the community. Every year there's a junior and a senior king and queen selected. Your junior court is usually a 3rd or a 4th grader, all local students, and your senior court is typically a senior in high school. Every once in a while you have an 11th grader do it. And those families choose a theme, they do a coronation, and everyone gets costumes, and you get to ride on a float, and there's a festival with a carnival, and just, it's a lot of fun for the whole family. I think everybody should go at least check it out once and see if it's something their children would enjoy doing.
Right.
So, but that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Yeah. And so that is a Brenham tradition that happens every single year. And so you being a lifelong person from Brenham and Washington County, what are a couple of your other favorites that you're just like, if you're going to come here to visit, these are the things to do?
Okay. And one of my very favorite things that's about to happen, that fortnightly book sale, there are people, these book dealers from far and wide that come to that thing. It's at the Washington County Fairgrounds. That's a lot of fun. Last night was the hospital gala. I went to that. That's always a lot of fun. The Heritage Gala is coming up. The Heritage Society is good, like fun too. What else? All the downtown stuff. Our downtown does a tremendous job. I mean, the Hot Nights Cool Tunes and like the Swirl. And then just Brenham. I mean, just all we've got. When I first came here, the restaurant situation was kind of a thing. I mean, it's gotten a lot better, and I mean, we go eat at all of them. So since you were like young, like have the traditions and the events that you're talking about, have they stayed pretty well consistent over the years, or have they changed drastically? They've changed. I mean, like Heritage Society, it was I think it started and girls wore like kind of like debutante dresses that their parents go buy them a wedding gown, and then by the time I was that age, we just kind of wore like a colored ball gown, and now they have these period piece dresses they do, but they still do what we do. They show the Giddings Wilkins house, and they show the mansion and that sort of thing. Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like that stayed consistent. Mayfest is stay consistent. The fair. I mean, the fair is what the fair was, when I was a child. I mean, the carnival rides are all almost in the same spots, and the pens and just the auction and all that for the youth. I mean, all those things are, it's what makes a small town when you're going, a lot of consistency and that sort of thing.
You're getting that nostalgia.
Yeah.
And the Christmas parade and how the city lights up.
Now, that was not a thing when I was a kid.
Okay.
It was just called the Christmas stroll, and there were like 300 Girl Scouts, and we'd all stand on the courthouse steps, and there used to be this big tree by the gazebo, and one girl would get to like put it together like Christmas Vacation, and the tree would light up. So that's changed, but the parade is awesome. I mean, that's a good, that parade is really cool. So that's the only nighttime parade we have. Well, I guess the homecoming parade's nighttime, but it's
evening,
because it's still light. Like that one, they wait till it's dark. That's a good one. So
I love it.
And then all the stuff. I mean, I went to Brenham, so all the Cubs stuff. I mean, it feels the same. We moved out to this high school my senior year, but so my kids have gone through the building that we were in high school in.
The junior high.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And all that.
Yeah. So
That's cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
So what do you have any goals that, as far as the title industry and your new role in that for 2025?
I just think just grow the business again, see if we can reach out to, different people, like y'all, and just try to, just let people know that we're here, we're serving Washington County, that sort of thing. I think it's just, some of it is cyclical with where the real estate industry is, it just depends on that. But yeah, just try to market ourselves in a better way to where, that our customer service is top notch and that team over there is doing a really good job. And so it's, putting people in place to do those sort of things for the community.
Right.
Now, what is, I hate that I don't know her name, but she usually sits at the front desk.
Melissa.
I love her.
Yes.
She's just such
She's a catch. Yes. She's great.
We did a transaction, gosh, that was probably 4 months ago, and it was an amazing experience.
Yes. Well, good.
All of
that's
it.
Good. Yeah. I'll have to let her know that. But yeah, we have a good team over there.
Yeah.
That I think that's in anything, whether it's, being on a PTO, Mayfest, my law office, the title company, just all the different boards I've done. It is the team. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no one in this town doing everything all by themselves. It is making sure that you know who's good at something and getting them on your team. And that's how, things like Mayfest and the fair and different groups thrive. It's because this community loves those things, and this person's good at being a treasurer, and this one's good at marketing, and this one's, good at all the behind the scenes organization stuff. And really it's putting together those people and everybody getting excited together.
100%.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I know when we relocated to this area, I would love to know your feedback, but to find out what these events are, and since you've been intricate in several of these things, what is the best method since social media is kind of now available?
The chamber does a good job at that. And we'd actually talked about that once in EDF, and somehow when you move here, having a QR code that people could scan and go do all these things, or even here's where you need to go sign up for your utilities, kind of the business side of moving, and then the fun side of moving, what you're going to get in Brenham. I think the chamber keeps a pretty good calendar of all of that.
So we work for CB&A Realtors. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. They're a very well-known brokerage out in the Houston area, and they're just kind of spreading their wings.
Yeah.
And so, but we just joined the chamber yesterday.
Awesome. That's a good move. Yeah. And the chamber puts on great events. They had the banquet. What night
it was
it?
a couple weeks,
it was a Thursday
ago?
night a week ago. So it's been a week from yesterday, and that was a great event. They do a good job. And then they'll have that tailgate. The tailgate's a lot of fun in the fall. So
yeah, we're so excited about all the things that all the growth and things like that. And so we're Texas transplants. Michelle is we're all transplants to this little area, and it's been so welcoming and loving to us. And so we just want to give back to those that also relocate here. And so it's a privilege meeting people like you that have been here with your roots all these years.
And if you reach out to people in Brenham, I think it's you'll get what you give. You'll get what you give, that kind of sort of thing. So it is. I love it, and I love meeting new people all the time, and I'm glad y'all are here too. It's just so good to have people that come here and that see why this town is important for their family, and hopefully generations of their family to come.
I love that so much. So if people want to reach out to you, what is the best way that they can contact you for title, and or if they want to start planning their
So my law office, I'm the Kenjura Law Firm. I'm in my father-in-law's old pharmacy building at 303 North Park. My phone number's... Do you
have a website?
No.
Okay, number. That's fine. Phone number is good.
All my business is from word of mouth. No. My phone number is 979-836-5297, or my email is ckenjura@kenjuralaw.com. Title company, 830-0980. There's a website. We're developing a new one, so it's kind of under construction right now.
Yeah.
With our new marketing and stuff like that. But yeah, and my cards are over there at the title company. That's at 205 North Market, or I'm over there. They'll find me. I walk between the two a lot too, so you might see me walking,
just running from across the street.
Yeah, hey, I'm gonna walk over there. It's been nice to walk between the two a lot though since I've moved. For some reason, when Johnny and my office was one block further north on Park Street, and I got here. I was like, I don't know why this is weird, but there's no hill to walk up, and I walk to the courthouse so much more now, and I walk everywhere downtown all of a sudden.
And in February, this weather is like
know.
incredible.
Isn't it
so-
awesome?
Yeah.
I know. I saw somebody last night like this feels like Mayfest. I'm like, it does.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
So do you have any final thoughts that you want to share with our viewers or?
No, I mean, just, I think just support community, and the community will give back to you. I really think that that's what's important. It's just to get to know people here, but yeah, come see me at my office or come find me at Brenham Abstract.
Love it so much. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching this episode. And if you would like to reach out to her or if you want to reach out to us, find us at texastreoteam.com. Just take care and keep living your best life.